Hello everybody, my name is Jeremy Ruprecht, and I'm here today because I want to talk to you about a few specific things that have been going on in the headlines in the news, and I'm sure that you probably heard from your coworkers or maybe your neighbor or anybody. Just some of the major issues that are evolving in our government today, and one of the biggest, of course, is the gun restrictions, gun laws, a possible ban on the actual guns themselves. And you may have even heard that the president is considering an executive order. The reason that I want to talk to you about this today is I want to inform people about the Constitution of the United States, because all these restrictions on what's coming about are all against the Constitution, and these definitely need to be addressed, because if we start losing sight of what the Constitution stands for, we're not only going to lose guns, we could lose a lot more, and we've already lost a lot already that you may not even realize, and that's why I'm here today. Now, I just want to take a minute before I get into the meat of this just to introduce myself. Like I said, my name is Jeremy Ruprecht. I'm 34 years of age. I am American citizen, born and raised. Now, I gotta say that I do live the American dream. I'm married. I've got 5 wonderful children. I actually have started my own business about 10 years ago, and it's been successful. You know, I'm not a millionaire. I'm a regular Joe just like everybody else. I work and I pay my bills, and I'm not rich, okay? So let's just not get into that, all right? I've struggled with my bills just like many of you have, and that's why I want to come to you straightforward as a person, an individual, an American who believes in our rights as people, that we as individuals have power, okay? We have God-given rights, of course, the right to choose anything that we want to. Even if you agree with something or if I agree with something, it doesn't matter. We all have the right to make a choice. And there's a lot of debate going on about what the Constitution stands for also, and what kind of rights that we as American citizens actually have. And this is what I want to go over with you today, are the constitutional rights as addressed mainly in the preamble of the Constitution, because that's the meat of the Constitution for American people. The rest of the Constitution basically explains setting up government, you know, Congress, the House of Representatives, and the Senate, how they should be established, what laws or what powers that they have being in those positions. And currently they're kind of being infringed on, I think. And I hope that everybody else thinks that too, because there's so many issues that are evolving just from this possible gun ban. And unfortunately, a lot of people haven't even noticed how many rights that we've actually lost over time, just due to infringements on our constitutional rights. Okay, my main goal not only is to inform you also, but I have an objective. I'm hoping to create, and with y'all's help, it's going to take the help of the American people, is an organization. Now, the name of this organization is the American Rights and Militia Operation of the Republic. Okay? Now, that is ARMOR. That's armor, of course, an acronym, which is what we probably go by just because it's easier, and it has its own meaning also, you know. The main meaning is, you know, that an armor protects an individual from injury, okay? And that's what we want to protect, all right? We want to protect people from possible injury, and there's got to be something to protect them. In order to be protected, though, you've got to have something on, all right? You've got to have something to protect you, which is what we have. We have the Constitution of the United States, and that is a big piece of, that is the entire piece of our government, and how it's set up, and what it is supposed to protect, and what it's actually supposed to empower us with, okay? Government was never intended to be the power over the people, all right? Especially by the Constitution. Government was made to set up basically so that we will have tranquility, okay? So that they can ensure that we will have tranquility. So that they will provide for our common defenses, you know, they will promote for our general welfare, and secure our blessings of liberty for ourselves and for our kids, all right? Now, a lot of people may have never read the preamble to the Constitution. I hope that you have. If you haven't, I think it's time that we have a little class here, and that's mainly what I want to do. I would like to go over the preamble of the Constitution with everybody so that they have a better understanding of what the actual Constitution, the preamble of the Constitution means. I'm going to take some of these, some of the words in the preamble of the Constitution and define them so that it kind of helps us get a better grasp of what our forefathers were actually saying and empowering us with alone, okay? They empowered us and they empowered the government, but they only empowered the government to empower us more, and that was the main purpose of the Constitution. A brief history lesson here is we got to know why the Constitution was written, okay? And it basically comes down to in 1775 roughly, or actually, we were controlled. The 13 original colonies, or the 13 states, were governed by Britain, okay? British Parliament and King George III. And he had been basically telling us what we can and cannot do from across the ocean, all right? And of course he was increasing taxes, and he did a lot of things, okay, y'all? And I'm going to actually hit some keynotes here later, but basically what really sparked the flame under everybody was that he decided he was going to give the Stamp Tax Act, okay? And that was basically when our forefathers and everybody else in the United States at that time decided that we've had enough, okay? That was their line in the sand. And you need to go back and do a little research yourself on actual government and, you know, why the Revolutionary War started, just to better inform yourself also, because it's just going to give you more power, all right? Now, the Constitution was written because of these issues specifically, and if you don't know, the Declaration of Independence was the nice way of our forefathers to basically tell Britain to shove it up their ass, that we were done with their crap. And they actually state specifically in the Declaration what exactly King George III and the British Parliament was doing to oppress them, okay? Now, you have to read the Declaration too. It's not very long. I mean, you know, it's a good piece of writing, but it's very specific on what was going on. And a lot of these issues that were in the Declaration of Independence are also issues that you can, I know for a fact that you can relate to issues that are going on today and have been for many of years in our government. Okay? So that's why the Constitution of the United States was written. Basically, the colonies were tired of their crap and said, you know what, we're separating ourselves from you because we don't think that you can no longer provide for our best interests. And that's kind of where we're getting to today, and that's why I wanted to have this video and give you a better understanding of what the Constitution actually says for us as people of the United States, okay? So first things first, what I want to do is I would like to read the preamble of the Constitution for you so that you understand and you can follow me and you know exactly what I'm talking about. And maybe it's just a refresher for yourself, you know, because honestly, I had to kind of look at some things too. I'm not going to claim to be some superior being that knows all of our rights, you know. I know them, but you can always be more educated on them. And this is my point, and this is why I wanted to do this video, and this is why I want to start the American rights and militia operation of the Republic. And so here we go. I just want to kind of start this here. All right. The Preamble of the United States Constitution says, "We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish the Constitution for the United States of America." Now, those are strong words. They are spoken in an older language, not really older language, but in an older way. But it's straightforward. It states specifically why we wrote the Constitution and why we're setting this government up this way and what exactly the government is supposed to be doing. All right, now I'm going to take these and I'm going to break apart the preamble of the Constitution here and define some of these words so that we all have a better understanding. And some of them you may be like, yeah, I know what that means, but other people don't. So just kind of follow with me here, okay? So we, the people of the United States, it's pretty self-explanatory, in order to form a more perfect union, all right? The actual definition of union is the action or fact of joining together or being joined together, all right? Now, they said in order to form a more perfect union. Not a perfect union, not a perfect union, a more perfect union. They knew that perfection was not able to be reached. Okay, our forefathers were not idiots, and they've seen how things go. So, the next part, let's see, establish justice. Now, establish means set up on a firm or permanent basis, and justice is the quality of being fair and reasonable. All right. So in order to establish justice or set up on a firm or permanent basis the quality of being fair and reasonable. Granted, we do have laws today that work in this favor, okay? The right to an attorney, the right to have a speedy trial, the right to representation, so that in the event that we are incarcerated legitimately, okay? And that's exactly what our forefathers want, okay? I'm not saying that everything that goes on there is always right. There are some things that need to be addressed. Now, the next part, ensure domestic tranquility. Tranquility is a disposition free from stress or emotion. To ensure, that's pretty much like backup, you know. It's like you have insurance. If it's damaged, it's replaced. Okay, so we want to ensure a domestic disposition free from stress or emotion. The next part, provide for the common defense. I think everybody knows exactly what this means. It means, you know, common. It does not mean always. Common does not mean always. It just means that if an individual or a group, a military, whatever the case may be, decides to attack the United States of America, we have a military that will go out and fight these invaders off. All right? Now, referring to the Bill of Rights and our rights to bear firearms, we still, even though we have a common defense by the military, they are not our full defense. We, the people, have the right to defend ourselves at all times from invasion, from anything, okay? It doesn't matter what it is. Invasion from foreigners, invasion in our own homes, it doesn't matter what the case may be. If somebody tries to hurt my family and break into my house, they're going to get shot, okay? And we have that right to defend what is ours. And the United States is ours. The United States is the people's. It is not the government's. It was never set up that the United States would become possession of the government. And that's where we've kind of lost sight of things. We think that the government can actually tell us exactly what we can and cannot do. um, in regards to certain things, and there's a lot that they really should not be allowed to tell us that we can or cannot do. Okay. All right. So provide for the common defense. All right. Promote the general welfare. Now, promote means further the progress of. Okay. Support or actively encourage. So that is promote. Welfare is the health, happiness, and fortunes of a person or group. This is really important here because it says promote. Now I know a lot of people, first of all, whenever they hear welfare anymore, it's kind of had a changed definition. Welfare is a state check or food stamps or all these other programs out there that unfortunately the United States people have taken advantage of and have done nothing but destroy our economy. If you're taking advantage of a program that is out there to help you, you're not doing us any good, okay? You're making it harder for everybody else. You're killing us because they're raising our taxes because of these things. So there's so many things, but I have to focus on this here. I don't want to start ranting. Anyways, we want to promote the general welfare. That's what it's supposed to do, promote. Promote does not mean completely support at all. It means further the progress of, support, or actively encourage the health, the happiness, and fortunes of persons or groups. All right? Promote welfare. Now, next part. And secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity. Blessings. Blessings is a thing conducive to happiness or welfare, which we already know. I just told you the definition of welfare: the health, the happiness, and fortunes of a person or group. All right, so the next part, liberty. Now, liberty, a lot of people think just means freedom, but it's used very loosely when people say freedom. Oh, I'm free. I'm free. Okay, freedom is something a lot more. Okay, liberty. And the actual definition of liberty is the state of being free within society from oppressive restrictions imposed by authority on one's way of life. That is a big statement right there. Our forefathers just came out of this crap. Okay? They know exactly what has been going on. Okay? They were being oppressed by their government and decided that they didn't want it anymore. So when they wrote the Constitution, they said, you know what? This is what the government is supposed to do for us, and that's it. So posterity, I'm going to get to posterity real quick. Posterity just means our future generations, if you don't know what that means. Okay? So I'm going to reread this with the definitions in the place of the words. Alright, so and secure the conducive, and secure a thing conducive to happiness or welfare of the state of being within society from oppressive restrictions imposed by authority on one's way of life for ourselves and all future generations. Our forefathers basically saying, you know what? You can't tell us what to do. You cannot give oppressive restrictions to individuals on one's way of life. And one's way of life is vague, and it was supposed to be that way because the forefathers knew that everybody lived differently. Okay, we're not to succumb to this one way of life. We're not to succumb to what the government says is right and wrong on how we should live, how we should act, who we should be. That is not what the government is for, and that's kind of where the government has started to fall over into. Their powers are trying to be increased, and they've done it slowly. And they're getting worse. And this is exactly what happened with basically Great Britain and King George III. He started out okay, and it was a great thing, but people are ignorant. People make mistakes. People can do wrong things every day, and we all know this. We've all done something wrong. It doesn't matter what it is, okay? The individuals that we've elected to be in our Congress, in our House of Representatives, our Senate, as our President of the United States, they're people just like you and I. Okay? They do the exact same things we do. and they should not be put on any kind of pedestal whatsoever. They should not be able to tell us, just because they're called the government, that we can only live one way. Okay? When we say blessings is a thing conducive to happiness or welfare. Okay, he said, our forefathers said a thing. They didn't specify what that thing was. They said a thing, basically, okay? To secure the blessings of liberty, a thing. That is very vague, and it's supposed to be for that reason, because what makes you happy may not make me happy. And that's the point. Our forefathers knew this. They know that their neighbors may live completely different than they do, but their neighbors are happy in the way that they live, and the government should never impose restrictions upon that. Okay? Anyways, okay. Next part is, do, ordain, and establish the Constitution for the United States of America. The only word I'm going to define here is ordain. Ordain means order or decree. There was no option. It wasn't, we're asking, okay? We're telling you. We, the people, are telling you that you need to do these things for us, and that in order for you to do them, we're going to set guidelines, and we're going to call these guidelines the Constitution for the United States of America. And you have to take that information with what it is. I don't care where you stand on gun restrictions, on the government. It doesn't matter where you stand if you're on either side of the fence. The fact is, if you're an American citizen, you should believe in the Constitution, because that's what it was written for. It is the law above all laws, okay? It was the law before government was ever established here in the way our government is today. It is the backbone for the United States and the freedoms that we are supposed to have, and what makes this nation so prosperous. And if you've noticed, over the course of the years, as the restrictions have gotten more because the government is imposing those restrictions, we seem to not be flourishing as much, okay? There's a reason for that. We're not able to be happy in what we're doing. We're not happy with our everyday lives. We're not happy in the fact that we have to pay excessive taxes, okay? Taxes that are taking money from me to basically have a thing that makes me happy, okay? On my way of life. It doesn't matter what the thing is. Even if it just comes down to paying my mortgage, or whatever it is. We got Americans out there working 2 jobs to put food on the table. Okay, grocery prices are way too high, y'all. Taxes are way too high. Mortgages are way too high. Interest rates are way too high. All these things just have compiled on top of each other, and we're getting to a point now. Where is your line in the sand? Alright? When are you going to say enough is enough? You know, our forefathers, they said it. In this right here, in the Declaration of Independence, they said specifically that this was their line. They said, we're done putting up with your shit, and we're taking back what's rightfully ours. And unfortunately, we as Americans got to come to that point too. We got to be able to stand up to our government and to anybody that opposes us and say, this is our line in the sand. And whatever it leads to, it leads to. Unfortunately. Our words are greater than anything, and we don't have to go to war because of this, because we already have the Constitution. The war was already fought. Okay? There's no reason that the government should, by any means, deny us that right. They can't even tell us no. We, the people, have this right. I hope that this video gave you some education, okay? And I hope that it helps open up doors for the organization that I am wanting and hoping to get established on a high-end scale. You know, the NRA is a great organization. They back the gun rights, okay, the National Rifle Association. They do stand on that a lot, though. You know, we gotta stand more on the Constitution itself, and that's why I want to start this organization. Just remember it, okay? It's the Americans' Rights and Militia Operation of the Republic, ARMOR. At some point, hopefully soon, if things go as they should, I'll be hopefully getting some people like you to be a part of this organization, be a member, and help fight this battle that we are trying to overcome.